St. Peter's Basilica, one of the most iconic and grandiose religious structures in the world, is situated at the heart of Vatican City in Rome, Italy. It stands as a symbol of the Catholic Church, drawing millions of pilgrims, tourists, and art enthusiasts every year. The basilica's historical significance, architectural beauty, and spiritual importance make it not only a religious landmark, but also a global cultural treasure. Historical background. The origins of St. Peter's Basilica are deeply intertwined with the history of Christianity and the rise of the Catholic Church in the early centuries. The church is traditionally believed to be built upon the site of St. Peter's tomb, one of Jesus Christ's 12 apostles and the first pope of the Catholic Church. According to Catholic tradition, St. Peter was martyred in Rome around the year 64 AD under the Emperor Nero's reign. His remains were buried on Vatican Hill, which later became the focal point for Christian pilgrimage. The original church, known as Old St. Peter's Basilica, was commissioned by Emperor Constantine the Great in the 4th century, around 324 AD. Constantine, the first Christian Roman emperor, sought to build a grand church on the site of St. Peter's burial as a way of honoring the apostle and promoting Christianity within the empire. The construction of this early basilica took several years and was completed around 349 AD. However, by the early 16th century, the original structure had fallen into disrepair and was no longer suitable for the growing needs of the church. Pope Julius II, who reigned from 1503 to 1513, made the monumental decision to demolish the old basilica and begin construction on a new one. This marked the beginning of what would become one of the most ambitious architectural projects in history. The Renaissance and the architecture of St. Peter's Basilica. The decision to rebuild St. Peter's Basilica was driven by both religious and political motivations. The Vatican sought to assert its authority and grandeur in the face of the Protestant Reformation, which had begun to challenge the Catholic Church's supremacy. The Church needed a new symbol of its power and divine mission, and St. Peter's would serve as the ultimate expression of this ambition. The construction of the new basilica was a vast, multi-generational effort that spanned over a century. The project involved numerous architects, artists, and builders, each contributing their expertise and vision to the final result. The initial design was conceived by Donato Bramante, one of the foremost architects of the High Renaissance. Bramante's plan called for a central dome surrounded by a Greek cross layout, a design that would be modified and expanded upon by subsequent architects. When Bramante passed away in 1514, Michelangelo Buonarroti, one of the greatest artists in history, took over the project. Michelangelo's involvement in the construction of St. Peter's Basilica is often regarded as one of his greatest architectural achievements. In 1547, Pope Paul III appointed Michelangelo as the chief architect, and he oversaw the completion of the central dome, which became one of the most iconic features of the basilica. Michelangelo's dome, which rises to a height of 136 meters, 448 feet, was an engineering marvel of its time. It combined classical and Renaissance architectural principles with a spherical base and a towering lantern at the top. The dome not only dominates the skyline of Vatican City, but also serves as a visual representation of the Church's heavenly aspirations. After Michelangelo's death in 1564, other architects, including Giacomo della Porta and Carlo Maderno, continued the work. Maderno is credited with expanding the nave and adding the grand facade, which gave St. Peter's its imposing front entrance. In 1626, Pope Urban VIII consecrated the new St. Peter's Basilica, officially completing the project after more than a century of construction. Architectural features. Street. Peter's Basilica is renowned for its majestic scale and harmonious design. The church is an architectural masterpiece that blends Renaissance and Baroque elements. The Basilica is 220 meters, 720 feet long, 150 meters, 490 feet wide at its transept, and can accommodate up to 60,000 people. The Dome. The Dome of St. Peter's is undoubtedly its most striking feature. Designed by Michelangelo, it draws inspiration from the Pantheon in Rome and other classical structures. The dome is supported by a massive drum, and its interior is decorated with intricate mosaics. The lantern at the top of the dome, which can be seen from miles away, symbolizes the light of Christ shining down upon the church. Visitors who climb the 320 steps to the top are rewarded with a breathtaking panoramic view of Rome and the Vatican. The Nave. The nave of St. Peter's Basilica is vast and awe-inspiring, stretching for 186 meters, 610 feet in length. It is lined with marble columns and adorned with works of art that evoke the grandeur of the church's mission. The central aisle leads to the high altar, located directly above St. Peter's tomb, making it a sacred focal point for worshippers and pilgrims. The Baldachin, one of the most impressive elements within the basilica, is the baldachin, or canopy, which stands above the main altar. Designed by Lorenzo Bernini, the baldachin is a stunning piece of Baroque architecture. It is made of bronze and stands nearly 30 meters, 98 feet, tall. The structure's ornate columns, twisted spirals, and dramatic design reflect the church's Baroque style, which sought to evoke emotion and a sense of divine presence. The Pietà and other sculptures. St. Peter's Basilica is home to many renowned sculptures, including Michelangelo's Pietà, one of the most famous works of art in the world. Carved from a single block of marble in 1498 to 1499, the Pietà depicts the Virgin Mary holding the body of Jesus Christ after the crucifixion. The sculpture is renowned for its exquisite detail and the emotional depth it conveys. It is housed in a side chapel near the entrance to the basilica, where it is displayed behind protective glass to preserve its delicate beauty. Other notable sculptures within St. Peter's include works by Lorenzo Bernini and other Renaissance and Baroque masters. The monument to Alexander VII, also designed by Bernini, is located near the high altar, and the monument to Urban VIII is a grand testament to the Baroque style of the period. The square and the obelisk St. Peter's Basilica is part of a larger complex that includes St. Peter's Square, a massive open space designed by Bernini between 1656 and 1667. The square is an architectural marvel in itself, with two sets of colonnades curving around the space to form a welcoming embrace for the faithful and visitors alike. At the center of the square stands an Egyptian obelisk, which was originally erected in Heliopolis in Egypt in 1581 BC by the pharaoh Thutmose III. The obelisk was transported to Rome by Emperor Caligula in 37 AD and later moved to St. Peter's Square by Pope Sixtus V in 1586. The square is not just a physical space, but a symbolic one, representing the Catholic Church's embrace of the world. It is often the site of important papal events, such as blessings, masses, and public addresses. Artistic and religious significance. St. Peter's Basilica is not only a place of worship, but also a treasure trove of religious art. Its walls are adorned with stunning mosaics, paintings, and sculptures, many of which depict scenes from the life of Christ and the Apostles. The Basilica is a testament to the Catholic Church's commitment to using art to communicate the divine message and inspire awe among the faithful. The Basilica is also a central location for major liturgical events, particularly those involving the Pope. The most significant of these events include the Easter Mass, Christmas Mass, and papal coronations. As the seat of the Pope, the spiritual leader of the Catholic Church, St. Peter's Basilica serves as a focal point for millions of Catholics around the world. In addition to its religious role, St. Peter's Basilica also holds significant political and cultural importance. As the center of Vatican City, the Basilica is the heart of the Catholic Church's authority and influence. The Vatican itself is an independent city-state, and St. Peter's Basilica serves as a powerful symbol of the Church's global reach. Conclusion. St. Peter's Basilica stands as one of the most extraordinary achievements in human history. Its grandeur and beauty, both in terms of architecture and art, represent the Catholic Church's enduring legacy. As a spiritual center, a cultural landmark, and an architectural marvel, St. Peter's Basilica continues to captivate and inspire all who visit it. Whether one approaches it from the perspective of faith, art, history, or architecture, St. Peter's Basilica offers something profound. It is not only the largest and one of the most magnificent churches in the world, but also a lasting symbol of the Christian tradition and the remarkable human endeavor to build something both sacred and eternal.